Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling great this morning, having a great week out there so far and a great day out there. Got you an update on what is most likely going to occur for most of the country today, weather-wise, and break it down for you. Pretty, I would say, pretty quiet day. Nothing too wild, too crazy to talk about, but there is a flooding risk. There's going to be a lot of storms across the Gulf Coast. Really today, especially in Louisiana and surrounding sections of states surrounding Louisiana. And then we're going to talk about the possibility for more widespread rain in Texas today, which is really good news. Some areas saw rain yesterday, but it was not a drought buster by any means. And some people just flat out missed where it was raining 5 miles away from you. But you guys, some areas just stayed dry as a bone. And we know all about that here in the Carolinas. And then maybe a severe risk of storms in the mid-Atlantic, portions of the mid-Atlantic today. But if you guys have not subscribed, please consider doing that. Seems like I've been sitting at 26.8K for a millennium now. But it's just been quiet. I would say back when I was in January, February, March, and I tried to predict how the months were going to be throughout the whole year, I definitely pinpointed and circled August as a pretty active month. Just knowing that hurricane season was predicted to be active, August has always been a pretty active hurricane month. But, looking at it, really, August is a pretty quiet weather month unless you do have something popping off in the tropics. So, there isn't. So it's just remained quiet. So the growth has been pretty much stationary and non-existent. So it is what it is, but we're moving on through. It's good news, really, for a lot of people, but, it's not bad news for me. There's just not a whole lot to talk about. Feels like I just kind of recycle the same information every day, but I'm going to keep pumping it out as I always do, and I really appreciate people who continue to tune in regardless. You guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rocking this morning. Water vapor loop, still an area of dry air behind this kind of sagging trough, but really this isn't really a game changer at all. There'll be a game changer coming in, meaning an air mass changer here in the next 48 hours. And I'll talk about this tonight. I should definitely have a video tonight. I lied to you guys yesterday morning, did not get a video out. But tonight, I certainly will get it out, and we'll give you some updated information on this brief touch of fall air that could certainly move in this weekend for parts of the eastern U.S. And we'll talk about the tropics also. But pretty much a moist air mass across all of the eastern U.S. It'll be pretty warm and just summertime storms today. But there is a big moist air mass down here in the Gulf states, and there will be a lot of tropical moisture for this section of the Gulf states today. Let's keep rolling here. Storm Prediction Center, general risk of storms will actually be a marginal risk for severe weather in Washington State today, sections of Oregon. So that doesn't happen a lot, but watch out for a severe storm or two in Washington State, especially well east of Seattle. Marginal risk for severe storms, Washington, D.C., Baltimore areas, Richmond, and the entire section of eastern VA. Maryland, areas of the Delmarva area, down to Virginia Beach, could certainly see a strong storm or two, maybe a severe storm. Biggest threat will be damaging winds. And honestly, I don't see much of a hail threat or tornado threat with these. But you know how it does in Virginia. They like to spin in Virginia and get going for sure. Excessive rainfall outlook. There's actually flood watches up for a large section of this part of the country right here that I'm about to show you. But slight risk of flash flooding up, which means at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met. And then you watch out for this area down here. You really do. I really keep your eye on this area today. Areas of southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama, and even areas of the western panhandle of Florida. You guys could be and see a lot of rain today. You really could. So we'll watch out for that. Watches and warnings. Like I said, these flood watches up for almost the entire state of West Virginia. A large, several counties for areas of Virginia, and then basically the entire central to eastern half of Kentucky, and then several counties in southern Ohio and a couple counties in Tennessee. Flood watch is up, so we need to watch today. Obviously need to watch in eastern Kentucky where you guys don't need any rain. Here's the very quick update on the tropics. 30% chance of development with 97L, but I just don't see this developing into a named storm or even a depression at this point. So just remains quiet. It really does. And, you sit there and you try to look past this system if you see anything. And there is some hints on the ensembles that things will pick up at the end of the month. but it's pretty quiet. I mean, it is. So is there a chance that we sneak on through this hurricane season, even though it was predicted to be hyperactive, and end up with a below average season? It's possible, but you know me, I don't make them calls. I really don't. There's YouTubers on here that love to make these long range forecasts. For example, there's a few out there, and it's not a diss on anybody. You know me, I don't diss on any people who do what I do on YouTube. I don't. If anything, I praise people. But there's a few people out there that just for some reason want to do a winter forecast, and I actually have a lot of comments that want me to ask me to do that, or a fall forecast. And honestly, I just don't think there's enough weather history to back up trying to predict a season out. I think it's just a toss in the wind. I really do. I can sit here and say, all right, the Carolinas, Tennessee is going to have above average winter precipitation this year. And I think it's a 50-50 shot that I might be right. And I'm really basing it off, sure, I can base it off La Nina, El Nino, a neutral year. I know all about that. But I don't think we have enough climatology, enough weather history to really stack all the years together and really try to predict. We can, especially once we get into November, we can really start to predict what winter is going to look like, or at least give a nice guess. A lot of meteorologists do that, and I can respect that. But trying to predict it in July and August, I'm not going to do it. But anyways, I'm off my soapbox there. Let's keep rolling. The Southeast, typical tropical downpours for everybody, but it'll be more widespread in Kentucky and Tennessee, West Virginia, and even areas of Virginia today, where some of these storms could pack a punch. But I'm expecting widespread scattered showers and storms in Kentucky today, which is what we don't need, but it's going to be numerous in nature. So if you're anywhere in Kentucky, even sections of the state surrounding Kentucky, active weather today. Some of these showers and storms could be severe in northern VA, Maryland today. So please watch out for that. They could pack a punch. But then look at all the moisture. There's a little bit of spin to this also. And it's just wrapping a ton of moisture. I think this was the area that the model several days ago was trying to predict maybe a little spin, maybe a little tropical disturbance. But since then, we're not seeing that. But it did do great at trying to show us there was going to be some energy around this area. And sure enough, just waves of tropical moisture. And you can tell there's a little spin because these showers and storms are moving south, and these are moving north into Alabama. So it'll be a very rainy day. And look at this complex of storms in eastern Texas. But, you know, you guys are not so much in that drought the further west you get, but still, anywhere in Texas could use the rain. It really could. But a pretty active day, just not active in terms of a severe weather outbreak or anything, but some flooding is certainly possible. Along the I-95 corridor, very hot day, all the way up into New Jersey. I think a lot of the state of North Carolina is going to be in the 90s outside the Triad and the Southern Appalachian Mountains. The mountains of North Carolina. And I think, you know, it's showing this weird area of kind of cooler air in North Georgia and upstate of South Carolina. It just depends on what happens, how these storms fire up. But I think it'll be widespread 90s and then just typical summer heat. And then rain-cooled, storm-cooled air for Tennessee, Kentucky, where I think temperatures will be held into the 80s, but a very humid air mass to boot for sure. The Northeast, pretty quiet weather as some light troughing has kind of came through, cooled you guys down. It'll still be very hot for areas point south in this region. And then the showers and storms will be confined to these areas down here like we just mentioned. But maybe some showers in Maine today. And then maybe some showers and storms that sneak into the southern half of New Jersey, areas of southern PA. But other than that, pretty quiet. Pretty hot if you're anywhere from southeast areas of PA, New Jersey, all the way to New York City. And then pretty warm in southern New England, but nothing compared to the last several days. It'll be much more comfortable. Here comes my computer just wanting to show us some ads. Here we go. All right, here we go. So the interior areas in New York State, though, much cooler, much more comfortable, and much more typical mid-August type weather for sure. So nothing too crazy. But the heat, maybe a heat advisory gets issued for this area where there's none right now. Maybe one gets issued later this morning. I wouldn't be surprised. My folks in Texas, good news for you guys. So we'll start this off around mid-morning. Some showers ongoing in areas of western Texas, northwestern Texas. But I think later today, more widespread convection forms. I know this isn't some big plume of moisture in Texas, but it's at least something. And I think there's areas further west into central Texas that could see some showers and storms. Now, not everybody's going to see it, guys. It's going to be one of them situations where they're going to be kind of popcorn convection, meaning, unfortunately, it might be raining in one neighborhood, but the neighborhood down the street, it's not. And that's how this could potentially be. But a nice flow out the north moves south, and some showers and storms will be moving through these drought-stricken areas of Texas. I don't see a lot in southwest Texas where you are undergoing under drought conditions also, but maybe your best chance of rain in areas of the heart of Texas in the last several weeks, if not a couple months, is possible. And we'll watch for these little clusters of storms to kind of evolve into a more tight-knit cluster of storms as they get a little bit deeper into Texas, down near the Gulf Coast. So we'll watch for that today. Rainfall between now and tomorrow morning, and there'll be another chance of rain tomorrow also. You're starting to see it. Maybe a tenth to a quarter inch of rain. That's not enough to bust these droughts, but we'll take anything we can get. Now, if you're underneath some of these storms, you could get a quick inch of rain. Imagine not having rain for 2 months, and then suddenly you get an inch of rain in under an hour. You're probably going to get some flash flooding issues because the soil can't absorb it. It's probably hard as a rock, and it's just been so dry. It can't absorb it quick enough. If you compare it to that, then soil that's been seeing consistent and average rains. So we're starting to see, you're beating down this ridge. You're starting to get a flow aloft that's going to bring in some moisture. So this is good news for Texas. It's not widespread. It's not a drought buster rain, but it is rain. So let's hope and pray you guys actually get that today. But before the rain starts, it's going to heat up. Widespread upper 90s, low 100s. It's certainly possible. Outside of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska, just typical, more average summer-type temperatures. Finally in Arkansas and Louisiana and Missouri. And, just nothing to really talk about there. Just typical summer-type temperatures. For up here in the north-central U.S., very quiet day. You might get some showers and storms that pop up later this afternoon, evening in areas of central Wisconsin that might drift, southeast into Lake Michigan. Watch out Milwaukee maybe. Later this evening. But other than that, nothing really too much to write home about. Temperature's nice in this area right here, especially where you have dry air. It's going to be warm, but, a dry warm, if you will. And very comfortable, widespread 70s and 80s for everybody in here. And then hotter the further southwest you go, where you got temperatures into the 90s and near 100 continues to play. You get this area of the middle of the country. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I definitely will have a video tonight. If I don't, I'm sorry. But God bless all y'all. Thank y'all. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to y'all soon.